Yo, yo.
Good morning. Welcome, first in chatters. There are several of you. You all got first. Wait, that probably only sows division. Who actually wants to be first? Kappa.
No, they all want it pretty bad.
Oh shit, I gotta mute myself. Which window is it? It's YouTube. All right, we got it. We got it. How y'all doing? I hope you guys had good weekends. Yeah, mine was pretty good.
Yeah, same.
Birthday weekend.
Yeah, everybody tell Vince happy birthday. Belated.
Yeah, birthday weekend is birthday weekend. I'm old. I'm old now. I wasn't old before this weekend, but I'm old now.
Just like that.
Yup. Instantly old.
It's kind of how it felt when I turned 30. I'm not gonna lie. But...
I didn't feel any different on 30. Like it was. I didn't feel any different at 40 either. It definitely it has a different ring to it because you're like, oh shit, I'm officially old. Because nobody, you can make an argument that 30 is not old. You know,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's usually people who are close to 30 or over 30 who say 30 is not old. But nobody says that about 40. Everyone's like, yeah, 40's old. So you have that to look forward to. The thing I noticed is like after like 26, nobody gives a shit when it's your birthday. You just exist for a while, and then you get to like 55 years old, and people are like, hey, you're going to retire soon. But that interim 20 years, no one gives a shit about.
Yeah, because I guess 25 is the last, like, you can now rent a car. That's like the last one for some weird reason. So after that, you have nothing you're waiting for.
Just death. Only death. You're just waiting for that.
I did see it was like this game show that like they were playing with couples, but it was like one of the questions was if you could remain one age like in perpetuity forever, like what would it be? And the only two like realistic options were 25 and 64, but nothing in between. And I thought that made it really difficult, because I think there's a really obvious answer that's somewhere in between like 30 and 40, and they don't give that to you. They give you like a little bit before that or like quite a bit after that, and you have to pick one or the other. And I thought that was tough. And 25 seems like the obvious choice in my mind.
Yeah,
but it seemed like a lot of people were going like 64.
I mean, it's not like, the question doesn't say you're 25 and your personality doesn't change and grow whatsoever, which is largely what happens, you know? So like if you have the like biology of a 25-year-old, that's the obvious pick. You just stay 25.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Being 64 forever means that you're old forever, and you're just gonna like be in pain. And
I don't know if they're like implying you're like a vampire or something, but yeah, it's like you might be stuck with like back pain or like gout or something in perpetuity forever. So yeah, I don't know about that.
I think I would probably go 28 because I knew a little bit more about stuff. But again, you could just pick 25 and like learn the things in the intervening 3 years that you would have learned anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Anyway, you don't feel much different as you age. You just kind of, I think most people hit that like post high school, post college mentality and stay that way until they die. Most people just don't grow and change and become new people, which is bad. That's not good. We should all endeavor to become different people as we learn. That's the benefit of wisdom. Let's see. Game news. Anything you want to start with, Tony?
Not necessarily games, but did you watch the new episode of Alien?
Oh, I didn't. No, I think I'm 2 episodes behind.
All right. Yeah, it's a show that I look forward to a new episode being on every week. It's been really good.
Nice. I saw the 2nd episode.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it when you're caught up. Let me see what else we got in here, though. First thing I'm seeing is... Go ahead.
Yeah, LFQ was saying I decided to grow and become a grumpy old man. I was just going to say that's inevitable, dude.
Yep.
I'm already... So I pulled out of the garage this morning. I had to run to the bank. And on my way, I realized that there's like some smashed up chewing gum in my driveway. And it was the fucking kids playing basketball yesterday, I'm sure. And now I'm like, I need to go out there and be like, hey, guys, it's fine to play basketball near my driveway. Do not fucking spit gum in my driveway or like fuck up my rain gutters. Like, come on, guys.
Or like anywhere in the world would be good.
Yeah. Like throw it in the trash. There's trash cans like 10 feet from you inside of your own house. Like just do that. Don't spit it in my fucking driveway. So anyway, old man just happens. As you get the burdens of adulthood of like, now I'm a homeowner, yay! You realize, oh shit, that's a lot of work. Now I have to like do a bunch of stuff to maintain my home because nobody else does. You know, when you have a landlord and you rent, that landlord maintains the home for you. It's a part of the whole contract you're signing. So you get real grumpy when you go and buy like rain gutter extensions and then the kids playing basketball stomp all over them and fuck them up because now I have to go buy new rain gutter extensions and be like, these would have been fine if you guys didn't trash them. So anyway. It makes you a grumpy old man. I guess in that same vein, my house is on the corner of the neighborhood, and there's a lot of walking, bike paths and stuff in my neighborhood. And motherfuckers like to just take the path right outside my house every day there's at least one, if not like 3+ people who walk by having a full blast conversation on their phone, just loud as fuck. And I'm like, what is happening? Every time I'm like, who's like yelling outside? And it's just someone walking their dog, letting their dog piss all over my fence, and fucking talking on their phone on speaker, just loud as shit. It's so rude. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm ranting. Old man has old man birthday and is angry about stuff. You know, while I'm at it, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna keep going. What the fuck is with Gen Z fetishizing 90s shit? That really got me mad. You know, it really grinds my gears. Anyway, go ahead, Tony. You wanted to say some shit, and I'm just yelling about nonsense.
Oh, no. You were asking me about game stuff. The first thing I saw on the list was just Resident Evil.
Ah, yes. Okay, that's good. That makes me happy. Let's talk about that. Do you want to show anything? I know we're worried about DMCA strikes, especially on YouTube.
The main thing is that my NDI thing is still fucked up. If you guys saw me talking about that last week, so that's been cool. Let me see what I can do here real quick, though.
What was the NDI thing affecting?
So, like, my stream from my computer here over to the stream computer goes through NDI, which like goes over the network, and I guess a Windows update has broken NDI on Windows, and it makes it just like a slideshow. I was testing it earlier. So like sometimes I just use it for sound, and everything was fucked up. But I'm just doing everything through Discord, so I should be able to show it here.
Yeah, Adder, the corner lot is really nice. I've definitely like gone outside and like yelled at people, not, you know, nicely. I'll go outside and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Someone lives here. You know that, right? Like, this is my house. Whatever the fuck you're doing is weird. Like, I'm not gonna go outside your house and just be weird." There was one guy who was standing by my fence staring at his phone, and he was there for like minutes. So I finally go outside and I'm like, "What are you up to, man?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "You're just standing by my fence, leaning on it, on your phone. I don't know if you're taking pictures of my house. It's weird. It's strange behavior. I live here." And he goes, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just some immigrant. Ha ha ha." And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then he just walks away. It's so strange. So yeah, corner lot has its downsides.
Yeah, I'll just play this without sound. But we thought it looked pretty cool. The lighting is really impressive.
Yeah, Tony's all about the lighting. I'm looking at it for like gameplay cues. That's what has me excited. What I can only surmise, because I can't play it myself, when you have to play it yourself to really understand game feel, but I can kind of read a little bit of it, and it looks like they're just nailing that Resident Evil feel where your motion is like really slow and purposeful. And I think that's a huge selling point. It looks like the old Resident Evil tension building because you can't move very fast. You know, the level design supports all that, very tight corridors. Yeah, it's good stuff. I do think it looks gorgeous. Re-engine is awesome. It's very good. I mean, they made Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, and Resident Evil with this. What are the other games that Capcom has made with Re-engine?
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude.
I didn't actually know that.
Fucking...
I think it's been the same since like
Double
the
check.
RE1 remake. But the RE4 remake was in UE5, and I think that was made by a different team. So we were kind of going back and forth yesterday, wondering if this was in UE5, but they have stuck with their own internal RE engine for a lot of their like mainline games for a while now.
Yeah, I guess Re-engine is short for Reach for the Moon engine, says the internet. I don't know if that's true or not.
Weird.
But yeah, it looks like this is what Capcom uses for all their stuff. So that's their proprietary game engine. I don't know if you guys remember, but I've been trying to tell you for a long time, like, You should learn a game engine. If you get a job in AAA, you're gonna have to learn their game engine. Almost every studio has a proprietary engine that they maintain because it preserves game feel and look and stuff like that. So that's how you get this unique, like, Capcom games look like Capcom games, Bungie games look like Bungie games.
And the comparison is like with Unreal, you have this kind of universal tool that allows you to, in theory, kind of make anything that you want to. And you have all of these different rendering styles and lighting techniques and settings that can be changed and stuff. Most of that probably doesn't exist in something like this because it's very purpose built for it, specifically the things it's supposed to do. And so those are going to kind of be the upsides and downsides. Is their rendering pipeline is probably fairly small comparatively, but that allows them to be able to go in and make it do very specifically the things that they want it to do. I really think the hair in this demo especially is really impressive.
Yeah, and one of the tricks, if you guys have heard me say there are design problems that you can solve that make technology problems easier to solve. If you look at that in the context of Resident Evil 9, you have these very tight corridors, very slow movement, so they can make everything a much higher level of detail because it's a very confined space. But that also helps with the emotion you get playing the game. So all these things mesh together. That's what game design is. It's a lot of like weird hand wavy ideas and themes and motifs that all just mesh. So that's what I mean when I say like maintaining the vision and being the vision holder and all that stuff and why it matters. So I do think that the lighting, especially in the hair, is really interesting. The other thing I noticed about the hair from playing Monster Hunter is it's very clear that it's re-engine. Like it's the same kind of hair that's in Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
And as we know, hair technology is special. Like every game has different hair technology.
It's definitely interesting that Monster Hunter was made with this, because
right?
that feels like that's a far stretch from what it was originally used for, which is like the RE1 and 2 remakes primarily, I think. And taking it into a fighting game like Street Fighter, I would imagine is its own set of challenges, but probably a little bit easier because I feel like a fighting game is very contained in kind of a small space, and you're focusing more on like the fighting aspect of it and stuff. But yeah, extending this into Monster Hunter is very interesting to me.
Yeah, it's yeah, it is. It's I'm saying what you're saying. It's interesting that a game engine is really a tool, and when you spend a decade plus working on a tool, you can make it do things you never thought it could do before. So that's one of the cool things about AAA and how they do it and why they've got their own studio look and feel to their games.
And I mean, another part of that conversation that's probably worth having too is, from what I understand, the newest Monster Hunter has a lot of issues, both performance-wise, and I feel like people just don't like it as much as World. And I'm seeing Adder saying they definitely would have branched the engine for Monster Hunter for World streaming. But,
totally, yeah.
We might be seeing kind of the back end of some of the like them trying to take this engine that wasn't used for making a game like Monster Hunter and trying to make a game like Monster Hunter out of it.
For what it's worth, I see a lot of the negative discourse about Monster Hunter and how it performs. I never experienced that. I played it on
and I'm purely talking about just stuff that I've read because I haven't played it.
Yeah.
So I will put that out there.
I do think that people who are complaining about it are running low spec machines, like 5+ years old, like very old machines.
Like, why doesn't my 1060 run
exactly?
Monster Hunter?
Yeah, I really think that's the problem, because if you consider, they primarily developed it for consoles. So developing for a console is like, the current gen of consoles are much more powerful than a 5 to 10 year old PC. They just really are. And that
a PS5 Pro is like a 3070 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels bad as someone who like built your own PC to be like, what? My machine is obsolete. That's what you get with PCs. That's how it goes. Consoles have the reason why consoles were very popular before streaming and all that is because they had this baseline that they were like, you have to meet this. And so every developer gets better as the years go by in that generation's life cycle at making a game play well on that hardware spec. It never changes, so it's easier to make the thing very performant for that spec. So if you consider the technical problems that people are complaining about with Monster Hunter Wilds, being PC players, it's because they have to develop for a very wide range of spec. Absolutely. And that is really difficult to dial in for everybody. So yeah.
Do you guys keep like a shitty computer around with a 2060 in it or something to run your game on just to see how it does?
So the people who loudly complain about perf usually have a 3060 and expect 90 FPS on 4K. Yeah, exactly. And that card doesn't support 4K at 90 FPS. It just doesn't. Having an exact convo with my team right now about our release perf expectations. Yeah, that's good, man. What do you mean I can't run this game in 8K 120 FPS in VR? Yeah, exactly. With a 3060. Come on, bro. Yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, Resident Evil looks really good to me. I'm pretty excited. It seems like a nice blend of contemporary Resident Evil visual style and weirdness and creepiness with old, like, roots core gameplay Resident Evil. When I watched this demo, it made me think very, very much of playing the Resident Evil GameCube remaster, because I didn't play Resident Evil back in the day, but the GameCube remaster was so good, and I played the shit out of that. And that's when I like really started to understand. I was like, oh, okay, I see why this game is popular. I understand. So it's giving me the same vibes.
The shift to first person is interesting. We were kind of talking about this yesterday. They're showing effectively the same sequence that they showed at the beginning in third person, but in first person, because you can freely switch between the two perspectives in the game. And I mean, as you can tell, I think it changes a ton about everything about the game. I don't know if it seems better. I could see how they could benefit from you being able to inspect things a little more closely in the environment and kind of see things up in closer detail, but it seemed like it worked really well in third person, I guess. So it's just, I don't know, by comparison, kind of interesting.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. We were talking about that yesterday. It makes me wonder if it's toggleable, because if you could toggle into first person, I feel like that actually kills the vibe of the game. Third person is much better, especially for like a tension horror game, because you see what's happening to the player. When you're in first person, there's a different psychological connection to the player character, and it doesn't like really feel like it's okay. So my assumption here is horror works when you see something happening to someone else, because you can empathize or, you know, sympathetically react, and you're like, man, if that was happening to me, it would be terrible. But if you're in first person, you don't see it happening to the player character, so it almost feels like it's happening to you, but there's a lot of sensory input that's just missing, so it's not as creepy, it's not as scary. It has to get like visually noisy, you know what I mean? So if there's like a blood splatter across the camera and stuff like that, you know, it's kind of fake, and
specifically lean into a lot more like jump scares, because you know, that's kind of the affordance that you have there, I guess. And like, if I'm thinking, I really didn't play a lot of RE7 and 8 because they're pretty big departures from like RE4 and 5, which are the games that I've played the most of. But I know those games are entirely in first person and definitely rely a lot more on the jump scares, on the dude getting his hand cut off in first person like pretty early in the 7th game, and like, you know, that type of thing. So you can definitely tell they're trying to mix the two together here, but allowing the player to choose between the two is going to definitely be interesting, because I would even think for a lot of just like practical gameplay purposes, like being in third person when you're getting chased down a hallway by something or whatever makes a lot more sense, but who knows?
I could see them choosing first person as a way to make it less horrifying, and that's like a comfort setting, you know, almost like an arachnophobia mode. It's like choose first person because it's less spooky.
Maybe they'll support VR again, which they've been doing.
I bet you that's it. Yeah. I bet you that's it. So this is you guys are speculating that this is PT and they're turning PT into actual game. I see you guys in chat talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, no Kojima on this one, but
yeah.
I did, you know, I was saying when Vince and I were watching this yesterday, it definitely kind of has more Silent Hill vibes than more modern Resident Evil, at least. I know this definitely is in the vein of like earlier Resident Evils where you're not Leon running around with a Benelli shooting people in the face and stuff, but
yeah, there was an article I read about that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. They were basically saying in an interview that her name is Grace, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so they were saying Grace is not a fighter. She's not trained with weapons or anything like that. So you should expect at the beginning of the game to feel that in the player character. But as the game progresses, she becomes more competent and more effective. But she's not Leon. She's not Claire. Jill. She's not Leon. She's not Jill. You know, she's not like the turbo badass that's just murdering zombies. She's mostly running and scared. Which
like if the sound is on, she's like gasping and like going like, oh shit, oh fuck, and like definitely sounding very scared, like pretty much at all times.
Oh, there was a scene too where she's running down a hallway and she stumbles, and I don't know if that's a gameplay mechanic. If it is, that sounds really cool. Like if you run too fast for too long, you trip and stumble.
That's like
that seems great,
here, I believe. Yeah, so you see her like kind of stumble right here.
Yeah, so like a player obviously is going to be like, what the fuck, she tripped? I hate that. You hate that because the monster is going to get you, which makes it scarier. That's good. It's a good thing. So yeah, from a game design perspective, I think it's brilliant. I hope that that's true, and I hope that that's a mechanic they put in there. Because see, she's just kind of like flailing down the hallway and then like stumbles. That looks gameplay related to me. It could be a scripted moment just to add to tension. So who knows? But definitely compelling anyway. I'm excited for it. I think it looks really cool. We're not getting it until next year, right? And we don't even know if it's coming next year.
Yeah, just like it's coming in 2026, as far as I'm aware.
Which that's okay. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not the type of person who's like, what the fuck, man? They said put it out now. They were gonna do it now, and like I want the game. So like I'm not the type of gamer who's mad about Silksong and its lack of information. Like I don't care. When it comes out, it comes out. I'll play it when it's here.
Yep.
Cool. Which reminds me, I do want to beat Hollow Knight. I never did because with a Metroidvania, it always goes this way. I get really, really far. I get a little bit stuck. I take a break. I fall out of the game, and then I come back to it. And I'm like, I have even less of an idea of where I need to be now. So I just need to start the whole fucking game over.
I remember playing Hollow Knight and like specifically telling myself, you can't do that. You have to just see it through to the end. And I did, and I had a pretty good time. I will say, to some extent, most of the enjoyment in a Metroidvania, in my opinion, comes from like the first 2/3 of them. And then the end is not usually as fun. It's like a lot of backtracking and just like them making shit really hard to test you and make you use all your shit. But Hollow Knight does a good job of having a lot of optional stuff like that like if you want to get good and like try this thing a bunch of times and it's really hard, like you can do that, but you don't have to. But I did find like to some extent also that stuff a little more enjoyable than just like beating the game. So I don't know, that'd be cool. You could play it on stream if you want to even talk about it.
Hell yeah. That's not a bad idea actually, as we get closer to when Silksong come out? November? I think it's November.
Yeah, like November 11th or something.
Maybe we play it during October, or we could do it in this month or something. But yeah, October is probably a good run up, and then I can talk about because Hollow Knight's a very good game. I do like it a lot.
It's awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on that, Tony. Like even Animal Well, I found myself like lost after not playing it for a couple of days because we played it on stream. The backtracking is always what gets me. And I think if anything, this, I lean towards the psychological mechanism of human beings being predatory animals with all the sensory organs on the face. You see landmarks and you have like this memory of like, I've been here. And that helps you find the new place to go to. When you have to be like, 10 hours ago, there was this one little glowy yellow ball in the first area, the first section of the map. I finally got the thing. I didn't know that I needed to go all the way back there because that's the next way forward. That's when I get lost, and that's when
I have nothing to do right now, so now I have to open the map and I need to look at the unexplored areas, but all of them are really far away from me and from each other, and I'm pretty sure in 90% of them when I get there, I still won't be able to get through the blockage. But there's going to be one, I'll go around to all of them eventually that I'll be able to get through. And yeah, that starts to get a little tedious for sure.
That's exactly where I was in Hollow Knight.
Yep. And Hollow Knight, like, there is a point I remember where I tried really hard to just like blind the whole game, and eventually just like was so stuck I just had to kind of like look up where do I need to go next because I cannot figure it out. And
the thing I hate about doing that is I always play video games blind, and that's my favorite way to play them. So when I do a Metroidvania, because they're sort of open-ended, and it's like you could get the candlestick first, or you could get the hook shot first, and so when you read a guide, you have to spoil the entire fucking game for yourself in order to know where to go next, and that definitely takes me out of those games for sure.
Just put this up while we're talking about it. But...
yeah, no worries. Oh, actual trailer?
Yeah, this is the one that came out the other day to announce that it's finally coming. So.
We're doing no sound on this one? Yeah, I kind of want to watch it too with some sound. I want to see what their audio's like.
Oh, I can turn the sound on. Hold on.
Okay, no worries. Is there supposed to be sound right now? There we go. I like that weird, like, kissy grub. Oh my god, I'm echoing like a motherfucker. There we go. Yeah, definitely Ori audio vibes for sure. It's
I was gonna say they did a good job of like it's making my brain light up for all the Hollow Knight noises, like all of the attack sounds and like boss warbles and shit, just like very spot on for the first game. So
I will say the one thing that worries me is they were like acrobatic combat, blah blah blah, and as I'm watching these air dashes, they look like they're aimable, and I'm worried that the input's got to be real tight. Just for me as a player, if you're a Metroidvania platformer enjoyer, I'm sure it'll be totally fine. Yeah, the echo is probably because of the way Tony had the audio thing.
I'm trying to figure it out. Sorry.
LFQ said it's gone.
Yeah.
It might have also been me. I had my own audio.
No, it was definitely like you were coming through where the Hollow Knight noises were coming through. And
okay. Yeah, so my worry is like as we're watching all these air dashes and shit that it's going to be like very, very finicky and easy to miss these like chain air dash combos. That's not bad for the game. I'm sure that players who are, this is like their favorite genre, they'll be fine. For me, I imagine that there's going to be a big learning curve for me to get to that point. I do enjoy that kind of stuff though. If I can spam these buttons and do like animation cancels and shit, I'm into it. Yeah, I need to play Hollow Knight again, I think.
I definitely agree, though. There's points in here where it's right after it talks about like the acrobatic action, and a lot of this, I'm like, man, that looks like a lot of stuff to be doing all at the same time and keeping track of, and yeah,
a lot of inputs.
A lot of inputs. I agree.
Looks very cool, but you know, doing the like air dash down strike, so you pop up into the air, so you can air dash again, and then you have to do like a horizontal strike to keep the air combo going. That looks pretty challenging to do.
Have you seen like the Path of Pain in Hollow Knight?
I've
There's
not.
like it basically is like kind of the same idea where I'll just kind of show you the beginning of it here, but it's basically just like fucking insane platforming input challenge where like you don't get a single respite the entire way through, and if you die you have to start over every single time. But so they definitely have been known to like lean into this, and this is like one of those things I was talking about that's like completely optional, and you know, you don't technically have to do, but you have the option to do, and you get like some cool thing if you get to the end of it. So I imagine there's going to be a lot more of that in the new one if that's the case. And you know, looks like they can make it quite a bit harder with all of those new movement techniques and stuff. So
yeah, okay. I mean, it's probably going to be good. I hope it'll be good. Do you want to talk about Kirby's Air Ride?
Yeah, that should be interesting. I think I probably played the first one at least once or twice. Famously, I believe it had 1 button input, and I saw some memes about how this new one has 2 button inputs. So
yeah. And Sakurai is very serious about the games he makes, for what it's worth. Yes. His like demo of it at Gamescom, he was like pedantically describing mechanics in very, very specific details. So
he is,
I don't know,
a true game designer. You know?
Oh yeah,
like he takes the craft of it extremely, extremely seriously, and he has his whole series on YouTube where he talks about it and all of his thinking and stuff. So you know, those things give me a little bit of respect for a game like this that I you know, kind of seems pretty silly otherwise, but I would imagine you know, again, since he's making it, it should be probably pretty interesting.
Yeah, make no mistake, Sakurai knows how to make good games. The reason we got Kirby as a character in the first place is because of Sakurai. The reason we got Kirby's Dream Land is because of Sakurai. Reason we got Smash Bros is because of Sakurai. Like there's the stuff the dude touches is good, and it's because of that attention to detail and vision. He has a specific vision for what he wants. Everything has to support it, and then he goes through each detail of the game and only does stuff to build on that vision, which is very important. That's how you get good game. I love Kirby games. I always was sad that I never got like a Kirby's Dream Land, you know, kind of part 2. There was always something that's like, oh, it's the spiritual successor to it. And I'm like, I just want a Kirby platformer where I get to like...
There's a ton of Kirby games, and most of them have a weird gimmick.
Yes.
Which is unfortunate. Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Because there are a few like slightly more traditional ones like Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby 64, that are awesome. Very fun. Love those games.
The gimmick ones are not Sakurai related, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he's primarily involved with, like you said, the mainline ones, Air Ride, and then otherwise he's on like Smash. He made a Kid Icarus game on 3DS that is pretty beloved by people that have played it, I know. And yeah.
Oh yeah, LFQ, expect Kirby to be adorable at all times. That's Kirby's thing. He's just a cute, squishy pink marshmallow, but he also just be eating everything and then absorbing their powers. Which, by the way, Sakurai has an explanation for. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's definitely like a metaphor, well thought out. Whereas Kojima does the Death Stranding is a metaphor for us all being isolated from society by technology. Sakurai's like the pink Kirby marshmallow is a metaphor for like the loneliness that we all feel inside and we consume to fill the void. You know, shit like that, where it's like he's deep in it. And that's where you know, I jokingly have called myself Ian from Mythic Quest. That's where like Blood Ocean is a thing. You know, there's a meaning there. In the show, Ian never gets to that point. He has someone else always fill in the gaps for him. But I think that's the thing that separates like a good game designer from, you know, someone who just does the task because they know the tools. If you guys have heard me talk about AAA and how the path to game design typically works, you're a tester or producer or something else. You learn the tools really well, and then you sort of inherit the position because you know the tools well enough to make things in the tools, which is more of a technical position and not really a, I guess, cerebral one where you're thinking about all of the things and how they tie together. Okay, so yeah, Kirby's Air Ride looks interesting. I want to check it out, I think, because I was thinking it was going to be a kart racer, but I think it's very much not a kart racer, right?
I think
like
it kind of
Sakurai
is.
wants to say it's not a kart racer. He said it like pretty specifically, like there is kart racing, but it's not Mario Kart.
Yeah, let me click around this like direct thing a little bit, because I was kind of under the impression that it was like a kart racer, because that's kind of how the first one was.
This could also be some Sakurai nonsense where he's saying it's not a kart racer, but it's very much a kart racer. It's funny because I'm one of those
kart racer for sure.
Yeah, and I'm one of those guys, so I say it sort of self-deprecatingly, like we have this vision and this idea of what we think our game is, but what you make is not ever really like one-to-one to that. And you have these gaps in there that the audience member fills in and assigns their own connection to the game. So we describe the thing we think we made in different ways than how people often play it, which is a weird thing, but it's normal. So, you know, like I said, I'm sort of speaking with derision about Sakurai and his game design philosophy and whatnot, but I do the same shit. So it's just the way it goes. Yeah, look at this machine writer. It's so fucking good. And this is that level of detail. You should never just put something in your game arbitrarily. You shouldn't be like, well, this is a fun game mechanic, let's shoehorn it in there. That's bad game design. So having Sakurai get so deep on this and write out stories and know all the connections that each of these characters have to the game world and all that, it's so important. It's what makes the game good. So I make fun of it, but it's real and it's powerful and matters. So I think he's talking about the boost timing here, right?
Yeah.
So if you just spam it, it's bad. If you hold it too long, it's bad. If you get your timing right, it's like perfect and really good. He's explaining why. And a racing line, which I think is important. That's cool. Oh, look how grumpy he is.
Mario Kart drifting, kind of, I guess. But
yeah, drifting, but with more agency over the boost. Because I feel like Mario Kart drifting is very spammy.
Very interesting.
So if you guys remember, I have said it a billion times, play your game. You got to play your game. Sakurai clearly plays his game. He knows what he's doing. He knows why he's made choices. And I think that's the most important thing as a game designer. You have to understand why you've made a choice.
Every time Kojima posts making the game, it's just him holding a PlayStation controller. So presumably a lot of it is him playing the game and testing and making notes and giving feedback and stuff.
Kojima definitely takes more of a cinematic approach to his games, which I think is totally fine. You can do that. That's his flavor. That's his style of being an auteur.
I was watching a thing about Death Stranding, and he was talking about how like when the composers would make songs for the game, he like puts them on his weird Sony MP3 player thing that he's always talking about, and like listens to them like 500 times, and like He's like, I have to listen to them on my commute and while I'm sitting on the train, and like I have to like pass all these tests and then they can get put into the game.
That kind of scares me, but I think that's a good practice. It scares me because there are songs that I know that I'll be like, this is going to be perfect here. And when I hear it for like the 5th time, I'll be like, this fucking sucks. I don't want it. And that's where you turn into the guy. It's like, dude, what do you mean? You said this was good. And I'll be like, I know, but it's not good after the 5th time you listen to it. And be like, you know, so yeah, I want the same thing. If we're talking about that, I've been thinking a lot about Hyperskate music lately, and I have some feelings. I have some thoughts. So the vision for the game audio is coming together a lot, at least in my mind. So that's positive. But yeah, I know that we're going to get to a weird spot. Dre would bring mixtapes out to his car and listen to it with the windows down, cruising around to see if he wanted to pick up the artist. Yeah.
Dude, car test is the realest shit ever. They always say, like, if you're producing a song or something, like, you'll listen to it like in the studio on these really nice speakers a bunch of times, but like what you really need to do is put it on your phone, maybe not even in like the highest quality, and then just go like blast it in your car while you're driving around. And if it sounds good there, then like your mix is good. And you should listen to it on like shitty iPod headphones and like play it out of your laptop speakers and just like try it in like a bunch of more non-ideal places and make sure that it still sounds good, because sometimes it only sounds good in the studio.
Turning Cog, just to answer your question or quip or whatever, I want different vibes for different areas of the game. I've told you guys that there's these different sections and the world will change and other things will happen. I want certain stuff to feel a certain way, and Brightside has a very specific style to his music. So I think there would be space for a Brightside style track to be in a certain level, but I also want like a Tony track, because Tony makes good music too. So I want a vibe to like, Tony makes the thing that fits in this one spot. Brightside has a thing that fits in this one spot. There's probably some other artists where I think like Nine Inch Nails or, you know, KMFDM or, you know, I want like an industrial vibe to certain spots that'll probably go in the underworld. And then like the overworld could have more of a Tony Hawk feel. So I'm not saying specifically ska or punk, but something that fits sort of in the extreme sports vibe, probably EDM leaning. There's thoughts. So I've got stuff in there. But yeah, it's not just, you know, Brightside does the whole soundtrack. I wouldn't want the game to have one distinct feel. I think each area of the map should have its own feeling and its own vibes. So even if you think about the Silk Song trailer, there is, you know, sort of one overarching orchestral track, but there are punctuated moments in different types of tracks that fit within that audio style. So that's what I'm saying. That is all kind of starting to come together for me. And I know that Tony's got specific feelings on what he wants it to sound like too. So we gotta balance all those and make them work together, because, you know, I'm not the sole vision guy here. Tony and I are partners, so this is his game as much as it is my game. So yeah, that matters a lot. Let's see. I'm gonna go check some news stories. Tony, I know you wanted to work on some trees and landscape stuff, so Tony's feeling pretty good about perfy things. We've got some other. Yeah. Tony's back in grass hell a little bit.
Yeah, fuck this grass specifically. But yeah, I just thought I'm gonna need to try to get to a point where like we can populate a good majority of this map with like forest and trees and other stuff. So I just made these really terrible blockout trees to kind of start getting a PCG graph put together. Also, everyone get your towels and your cleanser ready, because Boom is in here shaking the Beppis. Oh shit.
So everything's gonna get sticky.
Should have given Boom the Diet Beppis. Shit.
Is Diet Beppis less sticky than regular Beppis?
That's why they do Mentos and Diet Coke, because it doesn't have sugar in it, so it's not as sticky of a mess when you do all that.
I gotcha. Okay. Yep. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, Boom. You only get the Diet Beppis. You can't be responsible for the messes.
the sugar Beppis, not good.
Yeah. Let's see. What did we have for news things? I already did. I meant to rant a little bit longer about the Gen Z fascination with 90s stuff. But yeah, it should be pissing me off. What was the thing specifically? It was, someone did a fucking render style. They were like, I finally made a shader that looks like 90s 3D graphics lighting. And I was like, that's not an aesthetic choice, guys. I know you weren't alive during that time, but that was the limitations of the technology we had. You know, this goes back to my rant from last week about a friend who wanted a CRT in VHS because he didn't get to experience it. Dude, it doesn't matter. You live in the current, technology is just so much better. It's not worth experiencing. It's fucking weird. The audio sucks. Like, magnetic tape is not a good medium for high fidelity. It just never was. So I don't know why you would want to experience that. It's not like listening to a record on a record player because it has a different audio quality or tone or warmth to it, right? It's not the same fucking thing. There's a massive fidelity loss in magnetic tapes. That's why when people, back in our day would get the lossless, compression files off of Napster or whatever the fuck, the reason they did that was because it sounded better. It sounded fucking better. They didn't want to listen to it on, over the radio or like magnetic tape shit. It was bad. So relax, Zoomers, with your 90s infatuation. Fetishizing it is just pissing me off. I've been seeing 90s bands, System of a Down, Korn t-shirts popping up a bunch of younger teenagers recently. Weird to see System of a Down reappear in that way. Yeah, dude, I can imagine. Or Korn reappearing in that way is bizarre to me. Tapes also just degrade, so it wouldn't even be... Yes, exactly, LFQ. Like, the VHS tapes I have are warped and fucked up. They have an end of life, and it's not very long. Magnetic tapes degrade. They melt. They disintegrate. All kinds of bad shit happens to them. It's destructive by nature, and when you play it, you're damaging the fucking media. It just works that way. Chop Suey is nearing 2 billion listens on Spotify all of a sudden. Oh my god, dude.
Wow.
I do wake up, grab a brush, and put a little makeup. Oh man, I do love System of a Down. It's definitely one of my favorite bands. I will say System of a Down, Steelless album, Toxicity, those three are really good. Hypnotize, Mesmerize wasn't really my shit. Boom is losing it. The table too. What do you mean the table? Oh yeah. Why'd you leave the keys upon the table? Yes. I didn't leave my keys on the table. I always put my keys in the same spot, so that's never a problem for me. Literally right off the lyric sheet, yeah. I was always more a fan of the kombucha mushroom people sitting around all day. That was one of my favorite songs. Sugar was so good. I also really like their political songs. That was great. I think I've told you guys I have a little bit of hearing damage in my right ear. It's from blasting System of a Down on one headphone, like all through high school. I had this one off, and I would just be like this with System of a Down on repeat, just blasting in my ear. Which reminds me, I kind of miss when you would buy an album, either a cassette or a CD. In the jacket for that album would be all the lyrics to the songs. And it just doesn't exist anymore that way. Like, you get it on Spotify and it's AI translated and shit like that. And it's kind of weird because it doesn't make a ton of sense. Or you go to lyrics.com or something, and it's always not... I feel like it's a little sus. It's not necessarily accurate every time. Oh yeah, LFQ, this is like 20 years ago that I got some hearing damage from it. I mean, that's how it goes. I want to say the first, 10 plus times I shot a firearm, I did it with no ear pro on.
Oh yeah, big same.
I once shot a 30-06 with like some toilet paper that I wedged in my ears and absolutely had hearing damage afterward.
Used 9mm casings work okay?
You just put that shit in there.
I mean, it's blocking the waves from getting to your drums.
I mean, yeah, totally. That's hilarious. But yeah, it was me shooting with no ear pro a couple times before someone was like, "Hey man, do you want to go deaf?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "That ringing and muffled noise is permanent hearing damage. You should just not do that." And I was like, "Oh." Because I didn't know. It was the fucking 90s. What are you going to do? 90s, early 2000s. Like, it's just the way it goes. We didn't have the ability to go, "Hey, Chat GPT, is it okay for me to shoot without, ear pro on?" Shot my shotgun.
Yeah. Chat GPT would just be like, "Oh yeah, you're so smart. That's definitely."
That sounds fun. Great idea.
You're a revolutionary. Shut up.
Can you write me a business plan about shooting firearms with no ear pro? Shotgun with suppressor. Yeah, dude. So like nowadays, Adder, I've shot a bunch of different calibers with a suppressor, and every time the person's like, "Yeah, it's ear safe." It's not fucking ear safe. It's like, it doesn't make you immediately just go, "Wee," and that's all you hear, and you can't hear anything else. But you still get muffled sound, which is still hearing damage. Yeah, unless you're shooting subsonic ammunition, yes, you still get a pressure wave because the bullet is going faster than the speed of sound, which creates a sonic boom. So you still hear a crack. I don't know. Not worth it. Better to just have ear pro. Let's see what else we got in here. I don't think I even read any of these things. Oh, this one I thought was interesting. This one was about the SIE shareholder meeting. Herman Hulst in a meeting was saying, "I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply," and that Sony learned a big lesson with Concord. As I read this article, they did not learn a big lesson with Concord, because they said, "We have since put in place much more rigorous and more frequent testing in very many different ways. The advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary the oversight is." According to the report, some of the new measures include more of a focus on group testing, which is focus group testing, to be clear. So leaning more into big data, which obviously is the reason why they get in this fucking position in the first place, because like all these business analytics tell us there's a ton of money in a game as a service. Yeah, of course there is. Stop using the fucking data. Make a good game. Play your game. Furthermore, the reason why I say that, learning from other Sony teams, cool, that's good, using expertise, and building closer relationships between the executives who spend hundreds of hours playing games before they're released. I'm going to tell you right now, 0 fucking executives spend hundreds of hours playing their game before it's released. Absolutely none. I've never fucking experienced an executive who plays their game hundreds of hours before it's released. It does not happen. They do like weekly leadership play tests where they play for maybe an hour. None of them play the genre of game that they're making. None of them are good at those games. They're indexing on the casual player, and it's such a fucking pain in the ass and like so off base. I mean, I told you guys a story about when I made 0 Hour, and there was a director who was, obviously this is lower tier than executive, but still, a director who played 0 Hour and went, "This fucking sucks. This is terrible. We should never make this." And I'm in the room, and I was just like, "Dude, it's not for you. It's okay. I know you don't play the game the same way. It's for people who are really, really into this game." Fucking weird. Weird shit. So anyway, I think this article's a little disingenuous because it's painting them in a light, saying that they made statements about how they're going to fix it. But if you know a little bit about it and you've worked in AAA, you understand that this is all just lip service to investors and financial people saying the things that they need to hear to continue to invest money and have confidence. So I have no hope still. I think AAA is just going to continue fumbling. Especially based on what Sony is saying. They at least know live service games are a bigger risk, so that's good. But the things they're saying about how to fix it are just wrong. I thought this was interesting. So Japan, we can lean over towards SKG a little bit. Japan has a national library called the National Diet Library, established in 1948. It has physical copies of digital media to preserve the cultural, artistic expression that Japanese creators have made, right? So in that, they have cartridges from video games in preservation quality. So like they're not going to be played, they work, but they're like in a museum, right? Essentially is the whole point of it. What's interesting about this is with the Switch 2, when you get a game for the Switch 2, it has a digital authentication key card. So when you put it into your console, it says, here's the key for your game. You can now go download it. So it's not actually the game. Hey, what's up, Rorondo? Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So you get this digital key that downloads the game for you. So because of that, and the actual game isn't on it, those Switch 2 games will not be going into the National Diet Library. Interesting.
So does that mean that you can't resell a physical Switch game?
You can, because the key is tied to the cartridge. So whoever retains ownership of the cartridge has access to the key. But the game is not physically on the cartridge, which is a weird middle ground that Nintendo's going for.
So I guess you can't rip the game off the cartridge then.
Yes. And so they're trying to DMCA a little bit, but they're also saying that the advantage is it makes the cartridges cheaper to produce, which means their games are cheaper. Not true. We all know we're selling new games for $70, $80. Like, that's what the industry wants. So they're saying that, their profit margins are better, and that's another reason they're doing that. So
they've got to be talking about like making the storage capacity of the cards smaller, which has to be like a couple of cents in the grand scheme of manufacturing. Like
they're McDonald's single slice of cheesing us, dude. That's what's happening. I don't know if you know what I mean by that.
It'd be easier to protect the data on like a proprietary cartridge like that than to say like, okay, no, you're going to download the files onto the flash storage on your device, and somebody who knows what they're doing is going to be able to retrieve those really fucking easily. And like
instead of having to build a system,
they'll just pull that key thing off of the card if they even need it to like launch the game in an emulator or something like that. But like, I don't know. Feels like they're focusing on the wrong things here.
Oh shit, Adder Stradamus out here. On September 16th, we will see the new Skate game hit early access, fall directly onto its face. EA inevitably panic and subsequently gut the team. Sad, but the odds aren't great. Yep.
Why do you think it's going to fall on its face?
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
I've seen a bit of hype for it. I remember seeing some people saying that they're not really into some of the choices that they've made about, like, I think it's like an MMO kind of, if I remember correctly, or something. But yeah, what do you think it's going to die for?
I think my assumption, and I'm just going to throw this out there, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, Adder. I think that Skate is potentially going to miss because it's not like skating in a video game sense. It's like a skate sim, but I don't think Skate Sim has a big audience. I think people just want to go skate rather than learn a very hardcore video game in its controls that don't directly translate, right? Like, that's what makes Rock Band and Guitar Hero cool. It's not the same as playing a guitar. It feels like playing a guitar, but it's really, really easy by comparison, and none of the skills transfer. So that's why I think Tony Hawk Pro Skater did really well. It wasn't just a cultural thing at the time, capitalizing on the zeitgeist. I think it's because it was so over the top that you could do, 48 trick chains, which you could never do in real life. That's what made it cool and fun. It's because you're like, imagine if you could do 200 meter fucking manual into a 50-50 rail grind off of the side of a bus, and like shit like that was cool. They're effectively making a skate MMO, which is going to be entirely dependent on MTX to survive. That's a bad choice. I'll tell you that right now. Team is like 500 people strong and has been delayed over 2 years, so dev costs are through the roof for a niche audience. Yeah, that's not good, dude. If it was a small indie game that sold well on the coattails of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that genre has aged. Pro Skater has undersold, and Skate will sell even lower without the brand nostalgia to carry it. Yep. Yeah, nice. Good read, dude. Okay, so turning cog. Unfortunately, a game like Skate, especially if it has MMO components, is significantly more than $40 million. It's probably in the $150 million range to develop. Especially with a 500 people strong team, that's a lot of payroll. So you got to think like, single digits of millions and burn through just in payroll per year. And if they're in like a 5-year dev cycle, we're already talking $40 million just in payroll. So the other dev costs for developing technology and, studio operations that aren't payroll are really, really high. That was a losing gamble before I even interviewed. Nice. Good choice, Adder. Yeah. I mean, I don't like working on games that suck or that aren't going to do well. I feel that, Okay, so that was the Nintendo library thing. Oh, and I put the Resident Evil trailer in here. So yeah, I think we're mostly caught up on news. I'm gonna see if there's any news stories today that are interesting to mention. Let's see. PlayStation Plus's September lineup. Don't care. Xbox is bringing cloud gaming to lower Game Pass tiers in addition to PC games. Does anyone care about that? I don't think so. I don't think anyone cares about that.
More people probably cloud game these days than ever did before, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's still a fairly small number of people.
Adder, anytime I've done anything remotely adjacent to a skate game, there's a lot of people who don't skate and have never skated or like had a skateboard because they were Gen X and it was cool, but they never went to a park. They never got really into it. They didn't learn tricks. They didn't watch CKY. They weren't into Jackass. They didn't know who Bam was. It's weird. And they're like, yeah, but this is a cultural inflection point that matters and we can make money because blah. And they don't fucking understand skating and they don't understand games. And I think that's why skate games are such a flop lately. Zero chance it's going to succeed, unfortunately. I really do hope for the best, but got to keep it real sometimes. Yeah. Is Strata skate like a typo? What's Strata? I'm not sure what you mean. Strata 2 ahead of its time. Yeah, turning cog definitely not like this. If you're thinking about the costs there, I mean, when I talk about we need $5 million to make games, $5 million would give us enough to. I think at the onset, the pricing, or the not pricing, but the like business projections and whatnot and costs to develop Hyperskate was in probably like 2 million, 3 million. 3 million is with a buffer to finish from, soup to nuts, start to finish, ship the game. So 5 million would give us a buffer to begin another game as well. So thinking about that, that's a team of like 10 to 20 people or less. So it would be like a core team of probably like 5 to 6 people. Those are going to be people on, on payroll, right? Just regular employees that are contributing to the project, likely contracted artists who deliver assets, but they're not always building stuff for us. So that would be where a lot of that goes in, or like hiring an expert to build a system that we need, like a Sky system, right? So that's how those costs break down. And that is specifically trying to do it in like a cheaper way, so we're not bloating and overscoping and all that stuff. Staying within, this is exactly what we're building, here's how we're building it, here's what we think the cost would be, and that breaks down to like payroll per individual too. So when you think about those things, that's where those costs come in. So if you consider all of that, team of 500 people, that's crazy. Strata was the Google Cloud. Oh, I got you. I'm sorry, dude. I thought that was Stadia. So is that what you're talking about? Or is Strata, like, are we both thinking different things here? Google blew $1 billion on it and bailed before it really took off. Yeah. I remember there was specifically Stadia stuff at Destiny when I was leaving, because they were, you know,
D2 was one of the launch titles for Stadia. Yep. I remember. Yeah, totally. And I remember watching videos of somebody playing it and like hitting the spacebar to jump, and it would be like 1, 2, and then they would jump. And yeah,
I remember I think he's a former game dev now. This dude does a lot of consultancy. But I remember this guy like glazing the shit out of Stadia, talking about how he was on airplanes playing Destiny and it was totally fine. And he's like, you know, I could do open world and blah, blah, blah. I couldn't raid. I couldn't do PvP. And I'm like, so you couldn't do more than half the game. What's the selling point here? You just trying to get normies on there? Yeah, 2-second input delay is real, boom. Stadia, not Strata. Okay, cool. No, you're good at her. I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same thing. Skate 1 to 3 were tiny teams, and Skate 3 fell way short of sales. So naturally, we're going to quadruple down on the one IP without the cultural backing. Yep. And for what it's worth, I think if you nostalgia bait, you have to go for like the old school shitter toxic skate community. You can't go with the new school, you know, highly supportive, everyone wearing pads, you know, not being a rebel and not caring about their health. Like you got to go with the older school, because I just don't think modern skating is in the same spot. Modern skating is like very serious. It takes itself very seriously, and it's become ultra niche because of that, because it's not like a lifestyle or like a brand thing anymore. You know, extreme sports, X Games is kind of like gone. So yeah, I think the time is maybe past. Do people even go outside anymore and do shit like skateboard? You know, I think that was kind of a thing. Like when we were kids, right? Like a skateboard was a key to freedom. You could go places easier than walking, and when you got there was something to do, which was skate. So I feel like kids just don't go outside anymore, and I don't know what that is. Is that a parenting thing? Is that the world is so dangerous we can't let our kids go outside to play anymore? I don't know. It's tricky for me because in my neighborhood there's a bunch of young families, so there's kids everywhere in my neighborhood. Like I said, they spit chewing gum on my fucking driveway this morning. So yeah, it's I'm curious. What do you guys think? Skate needed to be anti-culture with Bam as their cover art or some shit. Wii-esque player characters with pads on, ain't it? Yes, dude. I still feel like there's like the old head skater, you know, someone like me who rides around with no pads and is doing the sickest fucking tricks, and they can't relate to the kids. But at the same time, you have the kids doing, oh my God. I watched this YouTube video that was like the best freestyle skaters in the world. 90% of that video was just garbage tier freestyle skating. And then they had like one guy who was a professional freestyle skater from Japan who was doing the nastiest tricks ever, flowing trick into trick into trick. And all of the other guys competing were just not good. They were just really, really bad. So I think the general state of skating outside of like Olympic level is not good. Wait, who's the Braille guy?
It was like the biggest skateboarding YouTube channel.
Oh yeah,
skateboarding. And it was just like some dudes that make a video every day of just like them going skating, and then they bought a warehouse and like built a skate park in it, and they were really popular, made like a ton of money, and then it turned out that the main owner guy like became a Scientologist and like bailed on everybody, and it got really weird. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, not trying to make enemies of the Scientology community. They will destroy us.
But there was like a big resurgence of skateboarding over the past decade or so, and I think they were in a big part of it, and now that's kind of fallen apart. But yeah,
I feel like the best skating nowadays isn't coming out of the US. It's coming out of Japan and South America, because like that's where the movements have hit. Japan takes it very, very seriously. It's not a culture thing. It's more of like a mastery of a specific skill set thing. But just based on what I watched in the Olympics, it seems like the people from Brazil are like into the lifestyle, you know, like they're skaters and they do, you know, fashion and just riding around in the city, skating on stuff. Wait, stop, Adder. That's not true. That makes me not like Ana de Armas anymore. Dude, come on. Don't say that. I gotta look. Oh my god. No, dude. No, dude.
What happened?
All right, like good for him. Tom Cruise is gonna try to marry Ana de Armas. They're dating, which is nice. Weird as fuck to me. There's like a 40-year age gap between them. Oh, bro. Ana de Armas is cooked. It's over. She's washed. Can confirm. Middle says can confirm. I'm from Brazil. My city is the skateboard capital in Brazil. Hell yeah. All right. Do you skate, Middle? I love skating. It's something I kind of am like toying with getting back into, but I have way too many hobbies and no time right now. Love me some Tom Cruise, but that's a weird couple. They were talking about having multiple kids. Oh, I'm sure. I am sure. That is a very weird couple. All right, Ana de Armas age. I just have to see this. Not that I'm an ageist. Okay, she's older than I thought. She's 37. I assume she was in her 20s. So that's not bad. Let's see. Tom Cruise is like 60 though. Yeah, he's 63. So that the gap isn't that big. It's only 25 years. Oh, yes, I do. Not as much as I did years ago. What style of skating do you prefer, Middle? And if you, it's totally cool. Like, I'm sure Brazil's developing its own styles and like, you know, types of skating. I always skated street and I liked freestyle a lot. So I would do, you know, low speed, like try to chain tricks together on like ledges and stuff like that. Yeah, street is good. I did a little bit of park, but park is, it's easy to fuck yourself up real bad in park skating without pads and helmets. So, and I didn't skate with pads and helmets. I would ride one deck for like 3 years, and it would just be ratty as fuck. My bearings were always shot because those only lasted like 6 months. So I didn't use my skateboard as a method of transportation. LFQ's commenting on how tall the trees are, Tony.
Yeah, everything I just did got messed up. So we're starting over, but it's okay.
Yeah, Adder, you got to wear a helmet. I mean, I didn't wear pads either. And I think finally, after like 20 something years, the scars on my elbows, it's like when you take a dive, you kind of tuck a little bit and you hit your elbows and the outsides of your knees. So I had like a nice round scar on this elbow, a nice round scar on this elbow, and then like nice round scars on either side of my knees because I just kept rolling on concrete. So yeah, that's the way it goes. My shins are like a fucking, wood saw. There's just like divots in my shins all the way down both sides. Skulls do in fact bounce off of concrete. Sometimes they shatter on concrete. Fuck, dude. One of my cousins in high school was trying to impress some chicks doing a skateboard trick at school, and he's not a skater, and he fucking ate shit. Board yeeted out from underneath him, and he just hit his head, the back of his head, directly on the ground. So he wasn't very high up. He just took a very quick fall, fractured his skull in 3 places, and was in a coma for a week. So you should probably wear a helmet or not be doing dumb shit on skateboards. It's a very good way to fuck yourself up. Used to street in public squares and stuff until cops show up. Hey, skateboarding is not a crime, Middle. That's yeah, that was the movement out here. We had all these stickers and graffiti and shit that was skateboarding is not a crime. We did that for the longest time. Let's see. Adder says, I hit a spine, clipped the pipe on the way down, woke up an hour later. Yeah, dude, be careful. I mean, obviously, you may not skate anymore. You got cars as a hobby. The video was crazy to watch afterward. Yep. I think I told you guys, there was a kid in high school, best skater I knew. We had kind of similar skate styles, but he skated street all the time. There was a church downtown of Boulder with a double set of 10 stairs. So it was like 10 stairs, kind of like a platform in the middle that was probably like 8 feet long, something like that, and then another set of 10 stairs, and then a sidewalk, and then the street. So he was backside 180 kick flipping it, and when he landed a little bit sideways, so he went backwards like that, hit the back of his head. It's on video. Oh boy, he made some fucked up noises. He had serious head injuries, and yeah, he was never the same after that, and he ended up going to jail and shit. So I want to say it was probably because of his head injury that personality changed and everything was different about the guy. He used to be very chill, then he got really intense with anger problems. What am I going to tell the kids spitting gum on my driveway, bright side? Middle says, I never use protection, just me in the concrete battles. Good thing I survived. Yeah, same Middle. I definitely like fucked myself up pretty bad. One of my favorite things to do though was skating loading docks. Ollie was my best trick by far. So I would like Ollie up into the loading dock and like Ollie out. Stuff like that was really fun. Try to do like ledge stall tricks. So PCG debug crashes most of the time. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that, but it's been something since like 5.5 or 5.6 where if I was getting it to work on a few of them, but I remember running into that before where just most of the time it will crash.
Adder was saying same with depth of field debug with cinema camera, FYI.
Good to know.
Yeah, Adder, like I want to skate again, but it wouldn't be like bombing hills or park skating. I would probably just skate like
I'd like to learn like
speed
bowls and pump tracks and stuff like that, just like cruising around and shit. I think that sounds fun these days.
You got to be careful with that shit, Tony. It's a good way to fuck yourself up.
I mean, I would wear a helmet. I'm not against that, but
yeah, but the higher speed you go, blow up an ankle, fuck up an arm.
Oh yeah.
Do you ride a longboard, Adder? Because I feel like a trick board with like, a short one with tiny wheels would be a pain in the ass to ride around in pit lanes. I'd rather get one of those little scooters.
Penny board.
I could get a tech deck, do the little fingerboard tricks. That shit's so lame though. Man, Ana de Armas with Tom Cruise. Y'all fucking me up with that one. Let's see. Yoshi P saying game devs are people too. Don't forget that. This is interesting. The director of Dragon's Dogma 2 said, I didn't make a Nintendo game designed to be liked by everyone. Huh. Okay, Kirby Forgotten Land Switch 2 review says that the $20 upgrade is worth it. I don't care about this music director from Deus Ex. Atari has acquired 5 Ubisoft games, including Child of Eden and Grow Home, and will re-release and evolve them. More slop. Great. There's a Nintendo Direct supposedly planned, speculating that it's planned for mid-September. So that could be interesting. We might get some new news next month.
Everybody, the Nintendo community is starting to get pissed off that they won't talk about Metroid Prime 4. So that's probably what that one's about. But the last time they announced a Direct, everybody was like, oh my god, it's going to be the Metroid Prime one. And then it was about Kirby Air Riders, and everybody got really mad, which I thought was funny. So yeah, that one probably will be about Metroid because Metroid Prime 4 is supposed to release before the end of the year.
Oh shit, dude! Okay. I really liked Stakeman's idea here. We need a tech deck mode for Hyperskate where you use the controller to control the whole body. Okay, so that's actually how you play Hyperskate, but from first-person view. I like the idea of like a tech deck mode. So maybe like a trick trainer. Where you're in VR looking at like a table and you can like see what the player character is doing when you're playing with that stuff. That seems like a good idea. Obviously, that's massive scope creep. We may not be able to put anything like that in, but I think it could be neat as like a way to tutorialize trick modes and stuff like that. We also haven't even really started developing a trick mode, so we have ideas. We have things we want to do. But yeah, Tony, imagine if you could play Skate VR or VR Skate, learning tricks by like just sitting at a table and like seeing what happens when you do the inputs. That would be pretty neat.
Yep.
Retro's been working on Metroid for a long time. They were trying to hire contractors back in 2020 to finalize the game, and here we are. Yeah, 5 years later.
The rumor is that in 2018 they threw a like 2/3 completed game in the trash and started over, and that's why it's taking so long. I don't even think it's a rumor. I think they've come out and said that that's what they did.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah.
Adder's saying, yeah, I'm also getting a 50cc pit bike and phasing out the board. Yeah, dude, that sounds more fun. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but driving can be exhausting. Which, by the way, my new suspension is in completely different car. I went for a drive last week, just a 1 hour canyon drive. It was fucking amazing. But by the end of it, my right foot was feeling a little sore just from all the throttle modulation and stuff. So yeah, driving is tiring when you're doing it at a spirited level, I guess. So I wouldn't want to ride a skateboard around in the pits. I was thinking like the Valve game where you are the third person controlling the ship. Damn, what was that called again?
Valve game where you're third person controlling the ship.
What, like a spaceship?
Oh, from the lab. Third person control. Oh, there's like a game in the lab where it's kind of like asteroids, but in 3D, and your hand is the ship. Yeah.
It was a bullet hell? Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool.
I love the lab.
I'm gonna get a Switch 2 for sure. For the, what is it? What's the Bloodborne game called?
Dusk Bloods. I'm gonna go with.
Yeah. The Mudbloods.
Can't say that.
Yeah, I just realized I was like, maybe you can't say that. Cool. I think that's all I got for game news. I don't see anything fucking interesting. Gamescom was last weekend. I thought it was pretty lackluster in the amount of things announced. There was a lot of shit that was like, here's a new TV show, here's a fucking movie, and I'm like, this is not video games, guys. Like, what are we even fucking doing? So, yeah, and Jeff Keighley, when he started the presentation, was like, we thought E3 was dead, but it's not. E3 is alive. It's here in Germany. And I'm like, bro, stop. Just fucking stop. Long Gone was the highlight of Gamescom. I see you pandering at her.
What was Long Gone?
Hilford's game.
Got it.
Let's see. What else do we have here? Let's see what Polygon says. Does Polygon have anything interesting? Outer Worlds 2. Corporate greed never looked so good. I'm going to tell you right now, Outer Worlds 1 didn't look good. Oh, shit. Tony disappeared? We still live? We're still... Right, Tony just vanished. All right, good. We lost Tony. I don't know what happened to him, but we'll figure it out. Adder, I kind of expected to see you guys at Gamescom for real. Yeah, the editor's still up. It is fine. I think I saw the mouse move too, so he's probably trying to figure it out. Oh, he hit L. My Unreal is making things very unhappy. Trees galore. Yeah, dude, you're going ham on them trees. Adder, I did expect to see Mortal Shell 2. So I'm kind of surprised that you guys didn't show anything. I assume that was on purpose because it's probably very expensive to get into that. I mean, I know that you were saying if they like your game and you like show it to them and they're like, oh, this is cool, we'll put it up, that happens. But I also think that if you're a AAA and you're like, hey, show our game, they're like, cool, it's going to be 10 grand for a 30-second spot. Nice. That's a good call, Adder. Yes, they really do. Trailers are very disruptive. Even for our trailer that is very dated and old, I guess dated, I'm redundant there. Even our Hyperskate trailer that's old and was for a specific showcase took like 2 weeks of our time just to make. And that was 2 weeks we didn't work on the game. So we decided we don't want to do that for a little bit. But we do need a new trailer. We need a more up-to-date trailer. So we'll get to that eventually. Like I was saying, the plan is get more art. Thank you, Boom, for making Cube. We should talk about functionality of the Cube and how we could fit it into the game too. I know that you're going pretty hard on like materials and stuff, so really appreciate it. But yeah, let me know if you got time you want to chat about it, because there's, you know, like I was saying, I've got a specific vision for Cube and how Cube works. So and it's totally okay if you give us something and then we can modify it, because it's going to be way better than like an asset flip or something. Having original art is really good. Yo, Anime, what's up, brother? Thank you for the resub. We don't have a dedicated trailer team. Yeah, so it would be Adder making the trailer, right? And you have to do like perf and polish and finish. So 8 weeks for our trailer. Woo! Yeah, dude. Yeah, that sucks. That was one of the cool things about Bungie, is there was a dedicated cinematics and trailer team. All right, I guess those were two separate teams. There was a marketing thing. Anime, Tony's doing tree magic in Hyperskate, and it is causing PC performance problems. So
I just messed the math up and tried to render like 1 billion trees in like 100 square feet or something. So
hell yeah,
it crashed like my camera and my mic, and you know, like my entire computer just died.
What does it say? Just hire more people, says LFQ. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, there are diminishing returns on team scaling. At a certain point, it just takes time. Having worked on huge teams, I'm sure, Adder, you can agree with this. You get more stuff, but not all of it is useful. So throwing more bodies at it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make the game faster, because the key contributors know what the game should be. And if they're micromanaging, you know, other team members who aren't quite on board with the vision yet, they're not making the things that make the game better and, you know, move the needle, as they say. So it's a very tricky balance. And I'm sure that, you know, everything I've heard, Adder, from you about your team, that your leadership is very in tune with what the correct size is for your team to develop your game and hit milestones you need to hit. Adder says, I do miss being on the cinematics only team. Having to jump between gameplay, cinematics, and trailers and back is tough. Yeah, I can imagine, dude. They're all different mindsets.
I imagine you, since you were undoubtedly starting with the gameplay side of things, usually are you trying to build them in such a way that you know you're like, I'm going to have to use this in a trailer later and put it in the sequencer, so I need to make sure I set it up this way so that that's going to not be a gigantic pain in the ass later? Because we certainly didn't do that at first, and then when I went to make our first trailer, I had to do a ton of stuff manually, and I kind of have known going forward some ways that I'm going to try to get around that next time. So
Tony, I think I can potentially answer, but I do want to hear what Adder's saying.
Yeah.
I think we were just not far enough along in the
for sure.
The game, the way the game plays. I mean, like, you rebuilt the player controller way after we made the trailer, so that's going to change a lot of how the game looks, especially in a trailer.
But even making that trailer really influenced, like, one of the things that we hadn't done at that point was like the animation and like the control rig for the players. Like there's obviously some rules to how things should behave, like when you're, you know, if you're going forward in a straight line really fast, like the character should probably lean forward a little bit, and if they're turning, you know, they need to lean left or right, and the board needs to lean left and right and stuff like that. And through kind of manually making that trailer, it really kind of helped me define in my brain, at least, like what the programming I would put into those things would look like, so that like when you're playing multiplayer with your friends, one of the things that we run into right now is like if you're movements are kind of like reflected in your character at all times. A lot of players kind of tend to like sit there with their arms in real close with the controllers like this, and then their character in the game has like T-Rex arms, and they don't look cool. And a big pillar of our game is like you're flying around really fast and like hover skateboarding or whatever, and you should look cool. And so like that's always something that we're gonna have to solve. So.
Yeah, because multiplayer is a thing. You should look neat and interesting to your buddy and be able to be like, yo, check this out, and then you do something cool. That's very important. Adder was saying we built our whole project dev schedule around trailer content focus. We lined up trailer 1 and then trailer 2 content before we enter production. Yep, you got to do that to raise money for sure.
And no, so is that just like making the character assets and, you know, defining some look and feel type stuff, I would imagine, I guess, then, and you kind of just like then take that stuff and build out from there.
Feels probably less important because you can dial that in and it's not visible when you're watching the trailer. But yeah, I think the look, like everything you were talking about that we had to do for Hyperskate, they probably were starting Mortal Shell in that idea of like, we have to develop these so that we have this thing that shows well, which is smart. That's a really good idea. What is Meerkat mode and why is it activated, Turning Cog?
I think he's talking about the T-Rex arms. In Hyperskate. Definitely is kind of Meerkat mode for sure.
Yeah, it's more like if you're sitting in a chair like this, like you can see my hands just right here. That's what you see. So the player is, you know, skating along like this, which is weird. You skate with your arms down and use them as balance. So that's something we'll have to figure out a little bit of.
In my mind, inevitably, it's just kind of like there's going to be things that happen in multiplayer where people are going to want to be able to emote and kind of show arm and head movement and stuff like that. And then there's going to be other times where that stuff is less important or the user is not really moving very much, and we're able to kind of like key off of like once they start moving their arms around, we'll let them take over, but otherwise they're going to fall back into some kind of more pre-designated animations that look cool while they're skating around and stuff like that.
Oh shit. Polygon with an interesting article that might be based on what we were talking about. Skate's creative director explains why it took 15 years to get Skate 4. I want to see this. Let's see what this director says that mirrors our speculation at her. Live service reboot simply called Skate. Early access September 16th, so very, very soon. I hate this line in this article. It's a significant moment for a community that memed the game into existence by spamming Skate 4 in live stream chats for years. No. Chat is not responsible for making game. I'm sorry. It's not. In a video interview with Polygon, senior creative director Darren Chung explained why it took that long to get Skate off the ground. It was a matter of the developers at EA Black Box hitting a creative dead end following a few whirlwind years creating the first 3 games in rapid succession. So yeah, Death March, everyone was cooked at the end of Skate 3. So it sounds like they were just like, we don't even know what to fucking make for Skate 4 at this point. I want to read what Adder's saying. Asset list for what we need to mock in the trailer. Yep, that's like I think for us, not getting the trailer until we were in development for like 4 months was just something we needed to do anyway. So we kind of mirrored that process, but we were learning how to make games together as a team. So there were a lot of other things we had to focus on first. So it was good that we went to that thing. We had this milestone where we had to create a trailer for XR Indian Friends to be featured in that showcase. So that was good. Things change and the trailers reflect that, but everything that changed was very intentional. Yes. Every hour matters with a tiny team. Yes, it does. Very much so. Okay. Let's see. The turnaround from Skate 2 to Skate 3 was less than a year. That's ass. That should never be that short. Came out, and I don't think people who were playing 2 even knew 3 was out already. No one was That's weird. I wonder why they didn't quote that with sick, or if that's a typo. No one was opining for the next one. I think he meant pining for the next one, and somebody fucked up the quote. Also, when we stopped and a bunch of people went different ways, I worked on Garden Warfare, but having a new challenge was exciting and fresh to us, but it was only a couple years before I was like, oh man, at some point we were going to do something. It's just kind of waiting for the right moment. So, I mean, yeah, they probably made too many skate games in too short of a period. That makes sense why it would take 15 years to make the next one. But yeah, Skate, I don't think performed super well overall, so I would assume that there's the challenge to get the publisher on board with supporting it and funding it and all that. Something about how we're all a family because we worked on Skate together. Come on, you're in business. Let's see. We would cross paths with each other and be like, hey, just so you know, I'm down. Just let me know when you want to make it. It was this crazy sleeper cell thing of game developers who are waiting to be activated to work on a new game. All right, bro. Some of our older online software engineers from Skate were also working on Garden Warfare with me, and they're like, why won't that game die? I keep having to repair the servers. Why are so many people playing them? Yeah, that's crazy. Why would you include that quote? People who worked on it were like, why won't our game die? Yeah, we should make another one because our game's not dead. Exactly. Mega Mocap family. Didn't Polygon gut the team for AI articles? Yes, they did. Polygon is actually shut down, Adder. They're shutting doors. So this is probably an AI generated video call article. I don't even fucking know who's making it. Giovanni Colantino, published 1 hour ago. That's the author of this. Okay, Sleeper Cell, we're a family. We all worked on Garden Warfare together. The engineers were hoping Skate would die and then realized that they should make a Skate game. Let's see. Something had to be a convincing catalyst. And the catalyst was chat, says this guy. Fans eventually proved that there was room for a Skate 4 game when they were spamming chat, and they memed it into existence. Okay. It was about identifying the right moment. Everyone was hungry for it, so that's what we did. Yeah, I don't know. I'm highly skeptical. All right, I think you're right, Adder. I think you nailed it with your fucking.
I'm pretty convinced after all that we've looked at that you definitely nailed it.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, bro. Oh, Mocap, you were at EA? That's cool. When I was at EA, all the people on FIFA kept saying they wanted to make another one, but it wasn't their decision. They wanted to make another Skate game, or they wanted to make another FIFA, because I'm pretty sure EA wanted to make 9 million more FIFAs, one every 6 months.
Like, please don't make me make another FIFA.
No, I was just joking. I know you meant another Skate. I was talking shit. Author, and then what is this hamster thing? Haha, reindeer. I keep thinking it's a hamster, bro. I forget it's a reindeer. The author is a chat emoji, yeah, or emote. I know emojis are like a specific thing. Whatever. I'm a boomer, so call me old all you want, chat. Reindeer, this is fine. Hype oh dear, nice. They asked me back for the next FIFA, and I didn't even verbally respond. They just nodded in understanding. Okay, we get it. You don't have to come back, bro. What did you do on FIFA, Mocap? I'm curious. Like, what's your, I know you do camera stuff now, and you're working on VR thingies. Nice, cinematics. That makes sense. That's cool, man. I guess in that vein, since we're talking about cinematics, I know Vin from Hilfert is a concept artist. So a lot of what I've seen for Long Gone is visual stuff, and it looks good. I haven't really seen gameplay. To be fair, I haven't watched a lot of his stream, but every time he's working on stuff, it doesn't seem to be gameplay related. So I want to know what the game is going to play like, or how it will play. I'm skeptical, just because I haven't seen much of it. So I'm not trying to throw any shade. I'm glad he got Inner Sloth Publishing and all of that, and he's, you know, building a team. He did a good job of selling the game and getting
I get the
backing.
sense that he just did vertical slice and like literally nothing else. Because to your point, every time I've ever watched the stream, it's always the same scene and the same type of stuff, and it's all the stuff that's in that trailer. And you know, just clearly he's put all of his work into that side of things so far.
Yes, which is okay.
That's how he got where he
effective.
is. Like, I think that's, you know, he has something to show people, and it looks professional. So
yeah, I'm trying to have a real conversation. So it sounds like I'm like talking shit a little bit, and I'm fully not.
No,
the dude is doing the thing, so that's good. But yeah, I want to know, as a gamer, do I want to play Long Gone? Is it going to be interesting to me? I know it's visually very interesting. I think it's a gorgeous game. Like, his art style is really cool. I like what he's developing. But I want to know what the gameplay systems are, because that will help me know whether or not I actually want to play it. So that's just kind of my take on it. And, you know, don't think of me as like should you play this game? Oh, Vince says yes, 2 thumbs up, go play game. Like that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be like a fucking React content, or, you know, a talking head that reviews games. I always try to talk about it from a game design perspective. That's what I'm trying to say, is I haven't seen a lot of the game that is Long Gone. I've seen a lot of cinematics and a lot of you know, visual style. So yeah, and it's good. I do like it. I think it's well polished, it's well thought out, it's cohesive. He's making cool looking stuff. So I just want to see how it plays. Yeah, and Adder, you're saying gameplay's happening now. I know he had to hire, and he started hiring like 3 weeks ago, something like that, 2-3 weeks ago. So it'll be very interesting. I hope he includes some of that. So obviously he's doing the same thing we're doing, where like the stream and his video content is marketing, and those are marketing tools that's getting people on board. Very cool. Good stuff. I want to see, as he's developing gameplay, if he's hiring designers and stuff like that to help flesh these things out, I want to see that on his stream too. So I'm hoping he goes that route. LFQ, tell me what to play, Vince. I believe in you. Battlefield 2042, so you can get the battle pass completed before Battlefield 6 comes out. That's what you should play. So it's interesting. I also want to throw this out there. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, guys, I've been playing Into the Breach as well. Like, that's kind of my, like, I'm watching a show, I can, you know, take one turn at a time and play it. Into the Breach is a really good game, but it's so hardcore. Like, one mistake and your run's over. It's literally just one mistake and it's done. So that, I think, is the hard part about it. I'm ass at the game. I will fully admit that. It's like mega hardcore XCOM, if that makes sense. You only get 3 pieces. They all have like unique kits. It's not in the same way where you build up a soldier over, you know, several days of gameplay, and then you know that guy takes one critical hit and dies, and you have to save scum to keep him alive. It's very different. It's a roguelite. Plays well in that regard. Blood Ocean. Yeah, exactly. Blood Ocean. This is Chromatic Sphere Ocean. Chromatic Sphere Funnel. I don't even know. I'm sure I said some shit like that to Tony when he was like, what do I make out of this? And I was like, Chromatic Sphere Funnel. No, I was telling him we need some glass so you can see the motion of all the particles, because watching that is cool. I've also told him that I think this thing that he's been making with we've been calling it a coin pusher. It's not really a coin pusher, but this like sphere flow machine thing, to me, it gives the same vibes as like watching a fish tank, which is not a bad thing. I think watching, you know, like nature doing its thing is very cool. Yeah, sphere flow machine thing. Yeah, exactly. So when you're staring at it, it's soothing. It's occupying parts of your attention, gives you very calming vibes, and that's what I like about it. So, you know, when I was like, I think it's like a fish tank, and the motion's really important. You need moments where a certain thing is happening, and then there's like sort of a downbeat, and then another moment where a different type of motion is happening, and then another downbeat, and then all that. That's how Tony got to this point. So that's kind of how I do the direction thing, is I give like broad stroke big ideas and talk about, hey, you know, like steer it a little bit this way, add some things that kind of do this stuff, and that's how we get to here. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Getting ready for the next PoE 2 patch? Hell yeah. Last Epoch. What's Last Epoch? Or Epic. However you want to pronounce that. Tombs of the Erased. Okay. Oh, so it's like a Diablo-like or whatever, some kind of like hack and slash RPG. ARPG. Okay, cool. This is the one made by 11th Hour. That's a crazy name for a studio, by the way. We don't make things until the 11th hour. I mean, what are you going to do? Okay, what else is on Polygon? Lots of stuff about television shows and movies. Pop culture. Polygon is ass. I bet you IGN is more of the same shit. Let's see what IGN says. Resident Evil Requiem interview. I don't care for that. This week's Alien Earth review. They're reviewing individual fucking episodes of Alien Earth on IGN. Jesus, we're fucking cooked, guys. Zissou Road to Revenge exclusive Red Band trailer for crazy action sequel. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. I watched Zissou. It was good. It was really good. I liked it a lot. I'm sure, you know, being in that area of the world, LFQ is probably familiar with the concept of Zissou, even though I know it's specifically Finnish. It's about like a dude in Finland who is like a farmer, or like, you know, he's like a homesteader, and the Nazis show up and they're like, you know, killing people and stuff like that. So I want to say it's probably a little bit related to Simo Häyhä, the white ghost or whatever. That guy was killing Russians, not Nazis, I think. But either way, World War II type shit. Interesting. So Zissou Road to Revenge might be a good movie. I don't think Zissou, the first one, was that good. It was entertaining. It was worth watching. White Death, that's it. Yeah. Simo Häyhä, dude. Yep, I know about him. Anyone else see the Silent Hill movie trailer? I have some thoughts. I feel like I saw the movie trailer. Hold on. Silent Hill movie trailer. Check it out real quick. No, I have not seen this. It's got Boromir in it. Sean Bean, is that right? Or is this the old one? This is the old one, isn't it? Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes classic Silent Hill stuff. Yeah, it's the old one. I liked that movie. I'm going to say crazy shit, but I liked that movie. I thought it was cool. Especially when they're in like the, I don't know what you would call it other than post Stranger Things, the Upside Down, when they were in hell, and the cultist ladies on like the steps of the church. She's like doing this. Pyramid Head opens the fucking doors and just rips her entire skin off with one hand. That was so crazy. Yeah, that was a good movie. Okay, so what are we looking at? 2025?
Here, I can put it up. Hold on.
Return to Silent Hill. Okay. Yeah, you should put it up there. There was one released yesterday. Okay, so I definitely have not seen it.
Okay, you're gonna echo though. Hold on. How do I stop this? Oh, let me.
I can just be quiet.
No, it's okay. I can do this.
Chat's like, no, Vince, don't be quiet. We need you yapping constantly. I'm kidding. I know you guys don't want me yapping all the time. Make the yapper stop yapping. Impossible.
Okay, that. Do it right there. Okay.
I'm not hearing the trailer, Tony.
I fixed it.
Okay, cool. It's pretty quiet.
That's all I got. I think this video is just really quiet.
Yeah, no worries. They had Pyramid Man. They had dude drowning in a puddle.
Yeah. They had fog.
Yeah, there was fog and smoke. Yeah, you didn't miss all that much. It had the like emergency alert sirens and stuff going on, and like some heady heartbeat based BPM type of music going on. Truly, it is a Silent Hill. Yeah, it was that, and that's definitely not Boromir. No. Boromir was in the first one. I'm pretty sure he dies in that one too. He dies in everything. What is it? What's the rule? If Sean Bean dies, it's good. Something like that. In media, do you know this rule, Tony?
I don't know that that's the rule, but I just know that he always dies. So
that's true. Yeah,
maybe that's just the rule.
He didn't die in Civ 6, and Civ 6 was still good.
Isn't that a debatable opinion?
No, that's Civ 7. Civ 7 is.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yep.
Yeah, he's definitely typecast as like, this dude's gonna die in whatever this is. Yeah, I'm with you on that, mocap. It does look like a music video. I wonder, anytime I see trailers like that, I wonder if they indexed on mass market appeal or if they're indexing on like, we can't show stuff from this because it doesn't meet like broadcast standards, and it's like ultra violent or like too adult or too spoilery. So it could be one or the other. We don't know. That's always kind of how I get a feeling about those. They're either hiding stuff on purpose because it's bad, or they're hiding stuff on purpose because they're going to give things away. So those are always my thoughts. Like Get Out, I think the trailer for Get Out really didn't help you understand what kind of movie Get Out was.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we talked about playing a little bit of, because there was a shadow drop demo of Luminous. Is it Arise? Is that the new one?
Yep.
So Luminous Arise and what, Tetris Effect and some other shit, just to kind of
yeah, just because the Luminous Arise demo is like 3 levels and probably doesn't take more than like 15 minutes. So we can do that. It might have multiplayer in the demo. I was looking at it last night. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it would just be like pretty basic, like head-to-head shit. The same.
Yeah, if you want to beat my ass, dude, we could do that.
Same developers that made that game made Tetris Effect, which is a pretty cool game that was made in Unreal. So we could look at that.
Sweet.
We could play old Luminous, which I'm probably a little better at Tetris than I am at Luminous, just because I've played it a lot more. But I can hold my own. So yeah, we can definitely do that. Or whatever.
I can talk about old Luminous a lot, so I think it'd be interesting to play the demo, check it out, and I can be like, oh, this is different from that, and then we can compare to old Luminous and see like what the differences are and all that. Luminous is a very, very good puzzle game. I think they did some very interesting and novel stuff with game design and how it all works together. I love the music aspect to it. It's so fucking cool. If you guys have not played it, it's a puzzle game, kind of like Tetris. You get blocks. It's always 2x2, right? Or do you get different pieces?
Blocks are 2x2, yes.
Yeah, so you always drop a square, but the square has different colors on it, and you're color matching. You have to get 6 or 4 to make them go away.
2x2 of the same color.
Okay, so you have to
You
match
have to make a
4.
square of the same color, and then it kind of gets like you can make a bigger square, and that's more points, or you can make it into like a rectangle, and that gives you like a little bit extra and stuff. But yeah.
And there's like it's not a metronome, but there's like a timing thing that sweeps left to right. So that's the thing you're fighting against. So stacking up big combos on the right hand side is the thing you want to do. Left hand side clears faster. But as the bar comes across and clears stuff, it plays sounds that fit in with the music track. As you rotate pieces and drop them, all play sounds within the music track. So you're like making music while you're playing, which is really fucking cool.
Which is something that Tetris Effect does as well, though they kind of borrowed from that. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, we can talk about all of those. I definitely have all of them and can speak to all of them for quite a while. So
I'm just trying to see those chameleons jump around, dude.
Yeah, there's some chameleons in the new Luminous demo that are pretty sweet. So cool. Well,
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's it.
Yeah, the chameleons wiggle.
Yep.
Also with the music, so it seems like there's more visual stuff. In Luminous Live, the background didn't really do too much. It just kind of like vibed to the music and like kept the beat. But it seems like in this one, there's more like visual reaction to stuff, which I think would be really interesting.
Old Luminous, which like we're gonna be playing Luminous Remastered on Steam. Luminous was a PSP game specifically, so I think some of that comes through a little bit just in terms of like the way that it is. But then, yeah, it seems like the new one, they definitely are trying to take like the concepts from Tetris Effect, which is a very visual and sound kind of integrated experience, and make, you know, a Luminous game out of that. So
yeah, and when I was mentioning Luminous Live, Tony's right. It was a PSP game originally, and then they ported it to Xbox Live Arcade. That was mostly where I played it, and that title was Luminous Live. So it was just a port of the exact same game.
See, because I've played Luminous Remastered quite a bit because it was on Game Pass at one point, and I just downloaded it and played a shit ton of it, and I own it on Steam now because it was on sale for like $4 recently. Yeah, so I haven't played the Xbox Live Arcade version, but
I'm sure it's the same game. I don't think that they had any different features. But I remember, like, I don't play a lot of puzzle games. There were 2 that I really connected with, and it was like Puyo Pop, but in the Sonic universe, called Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. I loved the shit out of that game. It was really, really cool. And then Luminous is the other one that I played a ton of. I was never really like a Tetris head, so those 2 just got hooks into me, and I loved them.
Well, yeah, I think we'll be doing that tomorrow. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely come through. A lot of these games do have some sort of multiplayer component, so you know, people own them and want to do some like head-to-heads or something. I'd be down for that. Anytime I feel the least bit confident in playing Tetris against somebody, I usually get my ass beat. So that's probably what would happen. But yeah, so.
Hell yeah. Awesome, LFQ. Yeah, we love when you're here, bro, even if you're just lurking, so no worries. I think that's it. Should we like wrap up, or we're at time here? Sweet.
So Stevie's streaming if we want to raid.
Yes, we should definitely raid Stevie. She's raided us a few times. So let me get that raid going.
Let you do that.
Yes, sir.
Give Stevie the love for us, guys. And yeah, as always, we're around on Discord if anybody wants to chat, has game dev questions, whatever. And then we'll be back tomorrow with some puzzle game stuff.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. It'll be cool. We were talking about some other things too. Hollow Knight. Thinking about playing Hollow Knight soon, so that could be really cool because we get Hollow Knight in November. So maybe next month we'll do it in October. So we'll see. Cool. Cool. The raid is ready to go. I'm going to drop y'all in there. Everyone show Stevie some love. And everyone have a good day. We will catch you later. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, she's on the be right back screen. So let's give it a little bit of time. We've got about a minute. I think the raid's going to probably pop in that amount of time. So it's terrible.
If we got to do it, it'll be okay.
It'll be okay.
Surprise her when she gets back.
Yeah, exactly.
Have a bunch more viewers. Everybody, go crazy.
All right, I'm going to drop us in there. Good luck, guys. Have a good one. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see you tomorrow.
Everybody, have a good one. Bye.
I cut you off. I'm sorry.